Gude. Let's stick your head out of your filter bubble and into mine. Here are 3 gadgets I built based on tutorials I found in other channels, and as a matter of fact I used them in a few of my videos. In this video I will just give you a broad overview about this and on my take on the designs, but as always you will find the links to the channels and to the tutorials in the description down below. At first, in all its beauty, it is the portable power LED light. It was made by Matt from DIY Perks. Basically it's a 1000 watt equivalent LED chip mounted on a PC CPU cooler. So there's some cool features about this. Because it's using this step up and this step down unit, it runs on a bright variety of input voltages. So you can basically just use your old laptop power supply and plug it in, or you also can use like a battery to power it, like this really old battery. No, okay, it just turns it on almost, but if it's fully charged then we will see something. Maybe let's turn it on. So there's an XT60 connector and it connects down there to this. This is quite easy. So one thing I added to his design is I added a switch to turn it off, and then you have the brightness knob to increase and decrease the brightness. You see it's quite bright and also quite warm. The dimmer actually doesn't work with PCM, so it's not pulse regulated if we dim it, but it's actually volts regulated. Therefore it doesn't flicker on the camera, and therefore I'm using this one as a backup light for some of my videos. Maybe you see it, it will most likely make the light coming from the left because I keep it on the left. As we turn it on, the angle of the light is quite bright, it's almost 180 degrees. But that is another cool feature. We can just add these lenses to that, and I put some straps on there. And using this we get a much more focused beam of light. This yellow LED smudges you get with some of the LED chips, also the IKEA lamps or something. I tried to get rid of them by sanding off this, but the glass is really hot, really hard, and then I gave up at some point, and now I'm just moving it out of focus. Building this I learned quite a bit. So at first it was my first encounter with these LED chips, and one thing I learned was that you should not buy the cheapest ones. Okay, because if we turn this on the bad battery, you see it's not evenly distributed, so there are better pixels and worse pixels, and this will eat away our efficiency. This was the first encounter with these step up and step down devices, circuits, boards, whatever. This was really easy because you just put it in and use the potentiometer to set the voltage you want to have and therefore regulate the speed of the fan. This was a little more complicated because the capacitors were laid flat for convenience reasons in this case, and also because I thought I was able to put it in there, but it didn't turn out to work. And also the resistor that is used to set the output voltage of that was replaced and put up here. Thirdly, the things that regulate the voltage are moved down here. You see it here. It's also attached to the heatsink because they get quite hot. You see here are the markings for the internal heatsinks, but I removed them as Matt told me to. So that is the electronics, so it was quite fun to hack this stuff. And last but not least, you see the quite rude beauty of the casing that was made out of the L-shaped aluminium bars. So this also, as you see, was the first encounter with it. It's all screwed together. Some screws didn't match up because I wasn't able to get in there, but it's still rigid and works. And also I created some foots because my CPU fan had this plastic cover down here, which I didn't want to break. And also I could use the place to fit the step down converter. So basically this is a good secondary light. Used with a LiPo battery, you can use it to go outside and blind everybody you want to, because it's freaking bright. That's the first thing. Check out Matt's channel if you didn't already, and enjoy building this. So you may know this one. This is my power meter. I used it in the videos for checking the charging rate of the iPhones, and this also wasn't my own idea. I built this after I saw it in the video from Arduino versus Evil AVE. Basically this is the same as these devices that you also plug between your wall socket and the devices. This has the advantage that it can calculate how much energy you're using, so it will add the kilowatts you're using, and this just shows you the current state, and it doesn't do any math with it. But I think this one is more precise, since this maybe isn't calibrated, although maybe it's as calibrated as this one is. If you want to measure how much it costs to run your washing machine on 90 degrees instead of 30 degrees, you will use this one and just look at the numbers popping up. If you want to know if the new heavy tool or the iPhone charger charges more or less, or to check the power factor, so if the voltage and the amps are still in phase or not. Basically we have the Schuko plug, we have the Schuko jack, we have a switch that switches both of them. This is basically a brick. You can order it for $6 or so from eBay in China. Yeah, the nice thing about this is it measures volts and amps and watts, and also these cos and var stuff. Let me quickly plug it in and then we have a look at it. Okay, I plugged it into my lights, as you see. Click, no lights, lights. So basically it analyzes the volts and the amps all the times, and you can switch between watts, the cosinus and the VA. So this main power switch is quite handy. And obviously this is grounded. So basically I was able to use the messed up build I did for the portable LED light I showed you before, because it was just too big. Here you see how big it is. And so I could make use of this stuff. Also it gave me the excuse to buy riveting pliers and to try out riveting. It's quite easy as it turns out. And also to work more with the MDF I used for the light I'm using right here. I found out that eBay shops have the ability to block you as a buyer, but the buyer can't block the eBay shops. So that was this. Now we had an Australian channel and a Canadian channel, and now a channel that is run in English but it's from Germany. This is the variable lap band power supply that was invented, shown by GreatScott. So you see a pattern here. It is again the frame made of aluminium. I think that was my last batch of aluminium. You see I had to get creative here. On the back, as always, we have the power adapter and the switch for switching on and off. We change the voltage here up to 30, about 27, and the amps down here, and you get the energy down here. Again, this case is also grounded and you can switch it off, and it takes a while. So this is also quite easy design, because it's just the power input and the switch leading to the power unit, and here's our step up and step down converter. And once again we took out the internal resistors, the internal variable resistors, and replaced them by these potentiometers up here. They are not that precise, but they are faster and they last longer, because these tiny Variable resistors aren't meant for turning over and over again. They're just there to set the value once and then to leave it like that for years. And also we have the power meter, also neat tiny design down here. So, but that's it. You can always need light, you can always need power on your desktop, and sometimes you want to measure the energy that is consumed and stuff like that. Have fun exploring the other channels, and thanks a lot for watching.